One meaningful project, 1 hour of focused work, one day at a time without waver. That's the secret you're looking for. That's what we're here to discuss today. It is a simple framework for creating a better life for yourself. But first, we need to understand its importance. Why is focused work a superpower? Happiness is a skill, and it's easier than ever to practice unhappiness. How? We don't live in the same world as our ancestors. The physical world is relatively similar. Of course, we built buildings, cities, countries, the road system, everything that we see today in the world. Our routines are a bit different than they used to be, of course, with the change that has come, but the environment has changed so much to the point that it could be detrimental to our long-term health unless we revert back or create a sustainable solution. And now I've been going down multiple rabbit holes. If you haven't already, read the short story The Gentle Seduction. You can just find it with a quick Google search, but it kind of opens your mind up to the potential of the future. And I'm not sure what the next phase of evolution is, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be chemical enhancement, like that people talk about in the biohacking community, that bridges us from where we are now to like being cyborgs and being able to live forever. Right now, it seems like our goal is to prolong our health with longevity practices to the point where we can reverse aging as a whole, or that's all we're doing with evolution, is we're trying to reverse entropy and the problems that come with entropy. So that's a topic for another time. Maybe we'll dive into it sometime, probably not. But the physical world has kind of changed, but the mental world has changed entirely. We continue to build the physical world, and our mind has to adapt and evolve and transcend in order for us to even have the ideas that create the physical world. And for every single thing that we create in the physical world, it demands 10, 100, 1,000 ideas and iterations of the ideas in our mind. And so this starts to paint the picture of the information landscape that we have access to that is drastically different from the old world. And so at the inception of human consciousness, we transcended and included the physical world beneath us and the biological world, right? Animal life. And with every advancement or stage of evolution, we hold everything under it, but then what is above it is 10 to 100,000 to 1,000 times the depth and span of what lies in that. So the mental world is so much larger and chaotic than the physical and biological world. And so here's a graphic. I got this concept or just illustration from A Brief History of Everything by Ken Wilber. And you can notice some connections here, right, between physics, biology, psychology, theology, mysticism, and how those align with spirit, soul, mind, body, matter. But in the mental plane, or the plane of soul or spirit, it just gets increasingly more complex, right? But it gives us so much more of a creative ability. And so let's think of the old world as an acorn and the new world as an oak tree. Here's an image of an oak tree, and these things can grow to be 600 to 1,000 years old, and they just get more and more complex over time. You can see that there is a core, right, which could be the essence of being, and it splits off in 3 to 6 major areas and continues to split into branches that may live or fall off, and thousands upon thousands of leaves, and each leaf having an ecosystem within itself similar to that of the oak. And so we can think of this oak tree as a watered down description of reality, beyond what you can see with your limited perception as a human. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, I mean like frogs being able to see colors that we do not have access to. There is more than we can perceive as human beings, and if you are not open to that, then your creativity is massively hindered, and your connection with any form of spiritual entity or experience. And of course, when it comes to plant life or just this oak tree in general, at times it becomes necessary to prune a branch so that it can grow better or go into a new direction, right? In forms of humans, because that is us interacting with evolution and allowing us to shape where we go. But another point here is that there are infinite branches and leaves to be explored by the mind. But most people are conditioned into the singular branch and possibly singular leaf that they were conditioned into throughout their childhood. Go to school, get a job, retire at 65, and the information and worldview that is adopted along with that. This keeps you heavily limited. And if you want, you can think of that singular branch or leaf as what people coin as the matrix, and you being trapped in that perspective for your entire life and never having the ability to open your mind and see new potentials for your life. And so the major problem here is that it is too easy for modern man to get sucked into a mindless trap of mediocrity, degeneracy, and roboticism. And when people try to break away from the default path into something that is unknown, they get scared, they get afraid, they dip their toe in, they realize, oh, I'm very comfortable right now in my own little situation, and they step out. It's too cold or it's too hot. There's too much information to explore, too many opportunities that cause overwhelm, too many opinions that lead to anxiety. To find clarity, you have to battle through the chaos. You can't just shy away at the first sight of struggle. So to help wrap our heads around this, for every good thought, there is 100 bad thoughts. So the thought of good health, or you trying to achieve good health, there is 100 bad thoughts because of the information that is available to you and that is marketed towards you by, let's say, mainstream media as one source of that information. And so when you think of good health, if you are not solely focused on that and don't have the goals, vision, and clarity that allows you to frame your mind so that distractions and other information can't penetrate that to distract you, if you do not have that, then your mind can, or your focus, which is what we're talking about today, can split to a negative thought of, oh, eggs are worse than cigarettes. Oh, they cause cancer. And then that leads to, oh, I smoke, so that's even worse for my health. Why am I even going after this health goal in the first place if I'm doing all of these things that contribute to poor health? And then it starts to split off into a holistic but negative worldview where you're like, oh, but I don't have money in order to get the quality ingredients that I need to optimize my health. I can't afford a gym membership. And so business comes into play, and you're like, if you don't have a vision or clarity on how to start or run a business or just fix your money problems in general, you can see where this splits and where people get so overwhelmed and anxious is because they don't have clarity or a direction or aim for their life in order to focus their attention. And they haven't educated themselves enough with quality information to the point of being able to solely focus on that because they're confident in their ability to act and they're making progress every single day. They're taking on a challenge. Their skill is up to that challenge so that they don't get anxious, or they're not taking on too low level of a challenge like a corporate job or something that they've done over and over and over again to the point of getting bored with it and thinking their mind splitting because of that, because they're like, oh, I'm bored, I could be doing something better with my time. And then you go down a negative thought loop that way as well. And so this is the point of focus. You have to learn to order your mind. You need to be able to create clarity from chaos and have direction for your life every single morning and feel like you are making progress so you can tap into some degree of the flow state, which is where you need feedback by your environment to know that you're making meaningful progress in life. Because you've felt it before. You know how fucking amazing clarity and pure progress feels. And once you seek to understand how to recreate that in your life, then that's how you create enjoyment on a daily basis. So let's start by understanding that if you don't program your own mind, it will be programmed by someone else. And the age of information is extremely overwhelming in this matter because everyone's trying to program you. They're trying to condition you. And this isn't a bad thing, but you have to be able to choose and limit your inputs from every plane of existence so that that's how you condition yourself, is by curating the information that you allow to condition your mind. And so let's start with the digital plane of existence, where you immerse yourself in the information that will program you for success. So unfollow accounts that don't serve your future, buy books that increase your awareness of your potential, subscribe to podcasts, newsletters, and blogs that teach you what the schools won't. Every single place you turn, you need to curate a digital environment that is conducive to the future that you want for yourself. And if you don't hold that future in the back of your mind, then it's so much easier to get distracted. And so now the mental plane, you need to treat your mind as a garden. Your thoughts, they can be well kept and beautiful, or they can grow like weeds and lead to a chaotic downward spiral. And as the Arabs say, the nature of the rain is the same, but it makes thorns grow in the marshes and flowers in the gardens. And now the physical plane, which is my favorite one to kind of think about, because in the past, people would form settlements, right? And so we can think of this today as people that settle for where they are in their life. They don't pursue anything more than a certain level that they've reached because they think that's enough because society said it was enough to operate within society and feed that machine. And so people in these settlements, they group together into these environments and just justify each other's mediocre behavior. And they program themselves to think that it's normal or a good thing. And now if this is what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But if you don't want to do it, that's why you're watching this video. If you want to be a mediocre piece of shit, go watch another video. I don't know. The unknown is where your potential lies. The single most important decision you make is where you live. It drives your business opportunities, relationships, food and water supply, politics, activities, and day-to-day quality of life. You need to set higher fucking standards for yourself. I'm going to write a newsletter and create a video on this at some point, but your standards, really, like if you're okay with $10,000 in your bank account, then you're not going to see anything less than $10,000 as a problem, or you're not going to see $10,000 as a problem in your bank account. If you don't see the environment you live in that is impacting the food that you can have, and the same with your money. If your standards for your money are so low to the point where you can't afford quality food and you're just complaining all day about how wealthy and healthy people are privileged because they can buy quality food, it's because your standards across the board for your life are absolute shit. They're so low. If you can't afford high quality food, it's because your standards for your own work ethic and business are non-existent. And so you isolate the problems of health and being able to afford quality food in your life as separate, when in fact they work together. You have to aim for holistic self-improvement, health, wealth, relationships, mind, body, spirit, business. All of them play into each other and come up together. If you want to be healthy, then you're going to have to fix your fucking finances. And if you're not doing anything to increase the status in your job or start a business or do something or budget to make more money, there's millions of different techniques to increase your income, then clearly you have no room to complain about not being able to afford high quality food or to invest in your health. And then how that both of those play a role in the relationships you have access to. And since those standards are so low for your food, health, and business and finances, then your relationships are also going to lower to that standard, and the entirety of your life is going to suck. So this is all to say that you are a product of your environment. If your standards are low, it's usually because you haven't put yourself in a digital, physical, or mental environment that would program you to increase your standards or to think that having higher standards is normal. And so these thought processes that are created from the environments that you reside in become habitual, and they become who you are. And then you start to work to survive your identity by justifying your own actions and reinforcing your own beliefs by following the people and putting yourself in the environments that allow you to settle there. Because most people wake up after 40 years of robotic living wondering where the time went. You don't have to be one of them. Imagine having a spreadsheet that displayed how much attention you've invested in any given area of your life: mind, body, spirit, and business that impact your relationship with the world and those around you. The spreadsheet would be a direct indicator of your quality of life. That is a quote from my book, The Art of Focus, coming out soon. September 5th, I believe, is the official launch date. We're getting things together right now, but more info on that to come. Focus is the habit of habits. It is the thing that comes before habits, the habit that comes before any other habit in your life. Focus is the root of your entire being. It is how you channel your awareness, consciousness, and attention toward value or distraction. Conscious focus on your long to short-term goals are how you program your own mind for success and daily quality of life. And so here we want to increase the ratio of expensive to cheap dopamine sources in our life. We want to increase the signal to noise, significance to insignificance, and meaningful to meaningless ratios. Because dopamine makes you feel good, and this isn't a bad thing, it's just a matter of where you actually get it. Dopamine is the molecule of human behavior and why we act on certain things that we do. Just because you aren't scrolling on your phone and soaking in the cheap dopamine doesn't mean that you shouldn't be leveraging a neurotransmitter in your brain to achieve some form of success. And so we start by creating a hierarchy of goals for ourselves. Because if you don't have conscious, meaningful goals, you won't be able to place your focus on the things that matter, or at least it just won't be top of mind. You're going to get distracted and your attention's going to be manhandled just by you going about day-to-day life without actually trying to control it. And it doesn't matter if you don't know what those goals should be yet. Just pick something that sounds meaningful. Only then can you realize what you don't want. By pursuing something that you think you want, realizing, oh, this wasn't it, but now I'm acting from a place of better experience, so I can set the next goal and continue self-correcting until I'm going in a much better direction in reality. And so if you want just a set way to do this, if you vibe with my message, then check out the courses 2-Hour Writer or Digital Economics to learn the high value skill of writing, or just to turn yourself and your interests into a business. I feel like that's a great direction to start for many people. And so to start this off of what we just talked about, here's what you do. The first thing is that you need to zoom out and gain perspective. Think about your ideal future. Have you ever done that? If so, when was the last time? Pull out a notebook and describe it in detail. Spend 30 minutes writing out what you think you want. Mind, body, spirit, business, and how those things will impact every area of your life in a beneficial manner. And now contrast that life with the life that you have now. This is your vision for the future. It is a big meta goal that houses the rest of your goals. And this gives you a lens or a frame to view daily situations from and focus your attention on the right things. If you do not have a vision or goals at the top of your mind, how are you going to make better decisions for your life? You can't. You don't know what decision to make that will lead towards the goal or the vision. If you don't have it there, then every single one of your actions are meaningless. And you're currently viewing life from a lens of unconscious goals because everything is goal oriented. We're taking actions towards a goal no matter what it is, right? So your actions are meaningless if you don't have conscious self-generated goals to help frame your decisions. But aside from that, if you don't have your own, you're operating from the lens of unconscious goals that society projected on you, like getting a better short-term job or having quick superficial sex, or every other low consciousness problem that people are so focused on solving in their life, but never really get them anywhere. And a note with this is that you do have to solve these problems, but you have to solve them from a long-term standpoint. Because even if you just want to have sex with someone, go, try, expose yourself to the experience, fail a few times. Failures are the foundation for your quality of life, and you need to learn by exposing yourself to experience and reality. Don't just sit around mentally masturbating over things. You have to go out and do things and reap the lessons from them and then channel those failures towards your goals. So the next thing, from that zoomed out perspective and our vision for the future, we need to deconstruct that vision into smaller goals to bridge the clarity gap. So in that same notebook where you wrote out your vision, take it out again and write out a 10-year goal, a 1-year goal, this month's goal, this week's goal, and what you can do today. Don't attach to these goals. This is just a practice to generate clarity. Your goals will evolve with time, and that's okay. Goals can change. I can have a different goal tomorrow if I wanted to, as long as I have a goal and I'm making decisions towards a better life for myself. So step number 3 after that is to zoom in with that clarity to act with purpose. So hold that frame in the back of your mind, right? The focus channel from which you view daily situations. This is the habit that we're forming, is zooming out, gaining perspective, and acting from a place where we can make better decisions and perceive situations so that we can identify problems in the ways of our goals. You are trying to decrease the amount of distraction in your life by consistently and habitually bringing your focus back from distraction to what you deem as important. And the things that are important or are signal or are significant are the things that align with the actualization of your goals. And this is what you notice. This is how you reap good dopamine. When you have a goal in your mind, like getting absolutely jacked out of your mind, and you go on social media and you see a tip that will help you with that, then boom, that's meaningful dopamine. And you need to save what that is and implement it in your life. And so now the question is, what do we zoom in our focus on? How do we actually make tangible progress? And how do we know that we're making progress every single day? Because the modern world is an infinite web of information, ideas, opportunities, business models, relationship advice, productivity doctrine, conspiracy theories, news, and drama that you can get lost in if you do not train your focus. At the current level of your life, 99% of the information that you are exposed to does not fucking matter. It is a distraction. Get used to that. Get used to registering 99% of the information that you are exposed to as a distraction and learning to focus on the important things. So we start with one meaningful project. So from what you wrote down in your notebook, we're going to turn goals into projects. And you are the meta project. You are your life's work. You as a project are composed of interconnected planes of existence that make life enjoyable. Mind, body, spirit, and money. Yes, money is necessary. It is the bridge of commerce, the lifeblood of society. It is how you bring the future you want to build to life and share it with other people so that they can benefit from it and you can contribute to humanity. And so also in business, there are the eternal markets, which are health, wealth, relationships, happiness, which can also connect to mind, body, spirit, business. And this is where burning profitable problems lie. So by treating each domain of your life as a project and creating projects out of those areas in order to identify and solve problems and create solutions. So as the project, right? The project is the solution. And so once you create the project, then boom, you turn yourself into the business. Do you see like how all of this comes full circle with all the shit that I talk about? Is by just improving your life and making conscious effort towards your goals and making tangible projects that you can pass down to other people, you create a life of impact, money, and fulfillment. And so you can also view projects as quests in a video game. And this is what makes video games so enjoyable, is that it narrows your mind on the hierarchy of goals that composes the project. You begin to control your attention every single morning. You start to move with purpose through the world, and people notice it in your walk and how you hold yourself. So from one meaningful project, now we need 1 hour of focused work. Focus is a muscle. Start with 4 sets of 20 minutes, rest between sets. Progressive overload still applies to mental lifting. When you get stronger, add more weight. Increase to 4 sets of 45 minutes. Train your focus to hit your ideal financial physique in record time. You don't need 12 hours a day to actualize your dreams. Anyone that tells you that is either an idiot, or they don't have perspective, or they're just giving their own experience, which there's nothing wrong with that as long as they're giving it from their personal experience. And if that was the case, 12 hours a day, then nobody would see any form of success. They don't have that much time on their hands when they have other responsibilities flooding their lives. Adults have responsibilities. They have families, jobs, bills to pay. And if you're young, then yeah, you have a huge fucking advantage, and you need to take advantage of it. So for your first meaningful project that you are going to dedicate 1 hour focused attention, you need to pick the one that solves the most prevalent problem in your life. And this is your purpose. If you're trying to find your purpose, here it is. So you need to sit with it, contemplate it, and create your plan of attack. Are you overweight? Are you broke? Are you stressed all the time? Do you hate your job? Do you lack energy? What is it? What are you sweeping under the rug so you don't have to face the pain that comes with growth? That's the difference between a video game and the game of life, is there is going to be actual real pain, but the pleasure derived from it is so much more than that of a video game. So if solved, what problem would unlock the next level of enjoyment in your life? And so from there, you must deconstruct that goal into actions. And that way you have something to incorporate in your lifestyle every single hour that you dedicate 1 hour of focused work. And for this, your life must change on a fundamental level, right? You're going to have to fit this into your day and prioritize it, because arguably it is the most important thing in your life. It's your purpose, right? It has to become the first thing you do every single morning, or it has to be so habitual later in the day that other distractions and responsibilities don't get in its way. You're going to have to wake up earlier. So if you need money, dedicate the first hour of your day to education and action around money. If you want to lose weight, dedicate the first hour of your day to education and action around fitness. If you want to decrease stress, dedicate the first hour of your day to education and action around mental health. It's that simple. Don't look for a shortcut on this. That's not going to lead anywhere good. This is a lifestyle. This is your entire life. You're going to be doing 1 hour focused to work for the rest of your life, every single morning. Do it. So the last part of this is one meaningful project, 1 hour focused work, 1 day at a time without waver. Focus is a currency, and when you invest it in your own education, work, rest, and success, the results won't be immediate. Consistency is a requirement. Actually, scratch that. Consistency is overrated. Persistency is underrated with a P. Persistence and iteration are requirements for projects to lead to a better future for yourself. You must show up every single day with the intention to build a project that lives into the future. This is how you become a confident and interesting person. This is the unconventional, if not the only path to self-confidence and just feeling good about yourself, is by actually having some form of value that you can give to other people, because there's so much more under that. It shows competence, it shows time invested, and it shows that you've had to acquire the information and perspective that allows you to see situations from a nuanced perspective. It shows experience. When you are hell-bent on creating your vision for the future, people notice and they want to join you. They want to follow you towards that vision. And so how do you make persistent action seamless? It's by scheduling lever-moving tasks into high-energy time blocks in your day. As to methods, there may be a million and then some, but principles are few. The man who grasps principles can successfully select his own methods. The man who tries methods, ignoring principles, is sure to have trouble. That's a quote by Harrington Emerson that illustrates the importance of what lever-moving actions actually are. They're the principles behind the methods or the tactics that people talk about, where someone's like, oh, start this social media marketing agency to make $1 million a year, or use this AI business model to make $1 million a year. Those are tactics. Those are methods. Those are operating from principles that the creators understand. You need to absorb the principles by studying multiple different perspectives through your education and noting the patterns of what allows all of them to do better, which I can tell you what it is right now. It's from my $1 million skill stack video, writing, speaking, marketing, sales, paired with your personal interests and tactics along with all of those that you learn with time. So the key to persistency is momentum, and you need to stack small wins. Because why would you ever keep playing a game if it wasn't ever fun, if you never saw any form of progress, right? This is mostly in the individual's control. People can say, oh, you just need discipline, you need to stick it out. If you're not seeing small wins, then you're not doing the right things. Because if you want to lose weight, it is foolish to start reading a book on hyperthyroidism before learning the principles of training and nutrition. If you want to start a business, it is foolish to buy a course on client acquisition with Facebook ads before learning the principles of traffic and offers. If you want to go on a date, it is foolish to learn game before understanding the principles of social, intimate, or business relationships. And you'll notice these principles overlap in multiple domains, like bodybuilding to business. There's a lot of parallels there, like just progressive overload in general, where you add a little bit of weight to the bar, right? You don't try to increase your income by $100,000 a month in 1 month. You try to increase it by 5,000, 1,000, and then it progressively picks up. And before you know it, you're bench pressing a financial 315 pounds for 10 reps. So with lever moving tasks, and once you identify what those are through education, you're going to have to learn, because I can't give every single, if I were, I would have to give tactics, right? I don't want to do that. I would have to give prescriptions, how-tos, and these narrow little things that pigeonholes everyone's perspective into the same thing so that only 0.01% of them get results. You have to go and fucking figure it out for yourself. And so the last thing is that you need to schedule these things in a high energy time block. Now, if you want to do this midday, go ahead. If you want to do it in the afternoon, go ahead. But for most, it makes sense to block out the first hour of your morning to make this happen. That's where people have the most time and energy, no matter if you're a night owl or not. Even night owls, when you're operating from that default mode network state, that's when you're the most creative anyways. Go to work tired. You'll do better work. And your energy may not be highest during this time of day, but you have a limited amount of energy every single day. And if you're trying to work after you're drained all of it, then it's going to be low quality. And so, yeah, this is going to be difficult. You're going to have to wake up for a week until it becomes somewhat normal. You're going to have to wake up early for a month in order for it to become something you actually enjoy. And you can work on whatever you want during these times, but realize that distractions are subjective. I'm not saying that hanging out with your friends and video games and partying, all this stuff is bad. It's bad if it's pulling you away from that 1 hour time block. Now you have something tangible. You have a one meaningful project. You have 1 hour a day. If anything pulls you away from that, then it's a distraction. If you complete that, then go ahead and be distracted by that. At that point, it's not distracted. It could actually be very important to you in maintaining those other pillars of your life. So work in the morning, knock out your priority tasks, and enjoy the rest of your day because you've already done things that you need to do. So that's it for this video. Have an incredible weekend or week ahead. Links in the description for cool stuff. Learn a high value skill with 2 Hour Writer. Turn yourself into the business with digital economics. Like, subscribe, do all that shit that people say at the end of a YouTube video. See you in the next one. Peace.